Assistant. Today is October the 3rd, and welcome to the second. Thank you, October the 2nd. And welcome to the Rules Committee. I am the Vice Chair. Actually, the Chair, which is Antoinette Lee, she's absent today. She's out of town, and I serve as her Vice Chair. My name is Council Lady Brenda Haywood, so in her absence, I will be serving. And Council Lady Dowell will be serving as my Vice Chair.
I'm honored.
And I'm just so excited that she served as Vice Chair, and we'd like to welcome our Register of Deeds. Okay, we're going to start with the resolutions, and we're going to start with Resolution 1412. Mr. Mike has asked us to do that, and we want you to know that we have a quorum, so we'll go ahead and get started. And again, we welcome you. Resolution RS 2018-1412, and it recognizes the historic election of Ms. Karen Johnson as Davidson County Register of Deeds. And we would just like to entertain that.
So moved.
So moved, second. All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you so much. Next, we have Resolution RS 20-1431, and it recognizes the legacy of prominent Nashville artist William Edmondson as part of the National Arts and Humanities Month. And let's see, Councilperson Robert Syracuse and others. Could you say something about that?
I would love to say something about that.
I would love for you to say something about that.
So, for those of you who don't know who William Edmondson is, he is a true pioneer and absolutely went. In 1937, he started making art, and he literally chipped away limestone. He said it was inspired by God. He was the first African American to show at MoMA. He was has the highest selling piece of art, which sold for $736,000 at Christie's auction that's ever sold. He was a true folk artist, and he put Nashville on the map. As far as folk art goes, this was kind of, and when I say folk art, I mean folk artists, because sometimes people could have connotations with folk art just being one medium. He is absolutely somebody that we should honor, and his family's coming next week, and I'm so excited.
Wow.
And I hope all of you will sign on to this.
Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much, and we just thank you for that explanation. That was well received and well deserved. Next, we have Resolution 2018-1432. Thank you, darling. And it recognizes David Williams II upon his retirement as Vice Chancellor and of the Athletics Department of Vanderbilt University. And do we have an alternate for Ms. Murphy to talk about that?
I signed on it,
Okay.
but I read, his achievement.
Yes,
It was
extensive.
excellent. So,
Yeah,
he's
extensive.
well
And he is not officially retiring from the school. He's still going to be at the law school.
Professor.
He's going to be doing some other things for the university, but he's stepping down from the athletics department, which he's done a great job.
Okay.
Well, he's not athletics department. He is the athletics director.
Right. He's a vice chancellor over. Right.
And
That's
he's
right.
over all of athletics
Right.
at Vanderbilt. Yeah,
Thank you.
very big. And he actually came to Vanderbilt from Ohio State with the former Chancellor Gordon Gee. And even when Gordon Gee went back, David stayed and made Nashville his home, and his wife has been very involved as well in all of the things that she does as board chair of MTA, or WeGo now, and just been
And
very,
hasn't he served in that capacity maybe 15 years or so?
It's been
somewhere around there.
2000s, yeah.
Yeah, around 15 years. I think that's quite notable.
But the most thing that I really like about him is that while he does like and support athletics, his main goal is to make sure that every athlete that comes through Vanderbilt graduates, and they are at 100%.
And I have to say that I have a lot of attorney friends, and they said he was by far the best professor they ever had at the law school. So I should tell you something.
Wow. Okay, can I get a motion?
Yes, so moved.
Second.
Aye. Thank you. Next, we have Resolution 2018-1433, and that's Hurt, Murphy, and others. It recognizes October 2018 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Nashville and Davidson County, Tennessee. Council Lady Hurt.
You told Harpo to beat me.
No, you didn't allow it either.
No, actually, this resolution is very, very important, and it's very critical for the city of Nashville to recognize this, especially with us having our first female judge over the domestic violence court.
Right.
And I think it's very appropriate at this time for us to recognize the steps and the progress that we've made as a people in Nashville. And this is just an example of how we have come far.
And this is also, one of the Women's Caucus support resolution series. And, especially domestic violence, one in every 3 women and 1 in every 6 men is the victim of domestic violence. So we really have to be, cognitive about those hidden symptoms. So.
And Tennessee is actually it's been in the top 10 for the worst states for domestic violence. I think we're ranked number 4.
Yep.
So we do have a problem in our city, and I really appreciate our Women's Caucus taking the time to recognize this month. And there's a booth set up in the hallway for more information.
And they are also entertaining different ones that would like to have a rally in the different parts of Nashville. And I signed on to have a rally.
There is one October 6th
Sure
at
is.
the
Yeah.
Siegenthaler
The
Bridge,
bridge.
8
Yeah.
o'clock.
That's exactly right. So that's noteworthy. Yeah. Can I get a motion?
So move.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, we have a late file resolution to request that the General Assembly of the State of Tennessee reconsider the authorization of the use of deadly force by the enforcement officers, and that's by Council Lady Verger. Did anyone else sign on for that one? Nobody did. Okay. All right. I think that ends the resolutions, okay? Thank you so much. We appreciate it. At this time, we'll look at the elections and confirmation. Thank you. We have the Community Collections Advisory Board, the appointment of Mr. Marcus Floyd for a term expiring August 31st of 2020. Mr. Floyd will fill the expired term of Mr. Lionel Matthews. If you would come forward, please.
The seat?
Yes, take a
sir.
seat.
Perfect. Hello. How's
Hello, how are you?
Well, how are
Doing
you?
well.
Wow, how about that? It's always good to see a smiling face. It brightens up one's day.
Good.
Are you a resident of Davidson County?
Yes.
Are you a registered voter in Davidson County?
Yes.
Do you serve on any other boards or commissions that are within Metro?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so could you just be so kind as to tell us a few things about yourself and why you think that you were chosen to serve on this very important advisory board?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. Thank you for entertaining my appointment. I currently serve as the mayor's public safety and justice advisor. Prior to serving in my current role, I served as an assistant district attorney here in Davidson County for approximately 2.5 years. Served as a judicial law clerk in Williamson County. But before that, before law school, I was a probation officer, which is essentially what community corrections is. Helping people, supervising people after they have been convicted of a criminal offense. And so based on my experience as an assistant DA, but primarily based on my experience as a former probation officer, I believe that I can help in the decision making as it relates to the Community Corrections Advisory Board.
Well, you certainly have the right spirit. Okay, do we have any other comments or questions or reactions to this young man?
I cannot think of any better person with your experience.
Yeah.
What a great appointment.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you are willing to do it.
We won't hold your councilman against you.
Yeah.
I know where you're going with
Tell
that.
Councilman Rosenberg I said it.
Not good. Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Well, we just thank you so much.
Thank you.
That wasn't grueling at all.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You shouldn't be so qualified. We would have asked you more questions. Next, the Health and Educational Facilities Board, the election, well, we're filling 2 vacancies, and we have Ms. Shea Hendricks and Ms. Becky Sharp. Could someone afford us another chair?
I can just roll this one up.
Okay. Would it be okay? Yeah. You're so smart. Thank you. A lot of people can't feel it like that. And you give her that chair, darling. Give her that chair.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
For this, yeah, but he's not here. John's not here. You're exactly right. Okay. The Health and Educational Facilities Board, and there are 2 vacancies to be filled. And we have 2 wonderful people there. Well, let me ask you this. Are you all residents of Davidson County?
Yes.
Are you registered voters in Davidson County?
Yes.
Do you serve on any other boards or committees? I'm just wondering.
To do with Metro?
Rebecca? No? Okay. Could you tell me a few things about yourself?
Yes, and thank you again for being here. This is wonderful to watch. So it's a privilege to see that system in action. I'm a native Nashvilleian. Grew up in South Davidson County, went to Overton High School, and I'm now a business owner here. I have 3 children who also have gone K through 12 Metro schools. I'm very dedicated to the city and have been looking for a way to serve, give back, and make sure that I can play a tiny role in making Nashville the best it can possibly be to all its citizens.
Wow. What middle school did you attend?
I went to Washington Junior High, which is no more where now Pearl Cone is, the vicinity, as well as J.T. Moore.
Oh, okay, J.T. Moore. Okay. I taught at McMurray. We have a lot of Overton. Okay. We transitioned over to, okay, thank you. And you, young lady?
Yep. So my name is Shea Hendricks. Thank you all for the time. I was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama. I went to college in Georgia, got my master's in North Carolina, and recently relocated to the Nashville area about 2 years ago. For me, through my background is really in consumer product goods. I work for Kellogg, and through work, I've moved to a lot of different cities, and one of the things I immediately do is to get involved. And I did that in moving to Nashville. I live in Councilman Kendall's district and have joined a number of organizations and boards to help. And with respect to education, I have a kind of a different background. I was raised in a 30-year-old business out of Birmingham, focused specifically on childhood education. And it afforded me an acute ability to see education in a small sense full circle, because you see the impact that it can have not only on transforming the community from a development standpoint. At its height, my family's business was 13 locations across the Birmingham community, so you get to really see how it impacts a child's life, how it impacts the teachers, the administrators, and really has a mark on the community. I now own a business out of Birmingham that is commercial investment, and there isn't a school that leases from me now. So education is something that I'm very passionate about, although I don't have children. It's a part of who I am in many ways, so when offered the opportunity to serve in this capacity, I was thrilled for it. So.
Lifelong learner, huh?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay, questions, comments? Committee? Sure, thank you.
I would like to say something about Ms. Hendricks in the sense that, as she said, she came to the North Nashville community where, you know, it is an educational hub with Tennessee State, Fisk, and Meharry. And it's also the home of Matthew Walker Comprehensive Health Center and the Nashville General Hospital. That is the sickest community in Davidson County. She stepped in to be an intern for the board of my organization, the Jefferson Street United Merchants Partnership, and she came in willing and ready to go to work to try to help transform the community and provide ways for them to become healthier as well as more educated. And we are very pleased to know that she is interested and willing to serve Nashville, Davidson County in a more full capacity as she brings the wonderful skills and talents that she previously mentioned.
Wow, impressive. Thank you so much.
Comment? Okay,
You trying to upstage her?
no,
Okay.
I
No,
can't.
I'm just teasing.
Nobody can upstage her. I'm glad we narrowed this to two, because I know Ms. Sharp, know Ms. Hendricks. Actually, when Ms. Sharp ran for school board, I helped her in that race. I tried to. Ms. Hendricks, I had lunch with the other day. I'm very impressed with her. She's a young lady. She moved on the street behind me, bought a house back there. So I'm very proud of her. She's a Spelman graduate and also Queens. She got a master's in business, I think, in Queens. And she's just interested. Her whole conversation when we had lunch was about how she could help the community. And I'm just very pleased to make that nomination. I'm glad we only have two because, and thank you, Erica, for withdrawing your cake.
And if you finish, I would like to make a quick comment.
Yes, Council Lady.
Yeah, definitely. I'd just like to say it's an honor. I'm glad Councilmember Kendall and myself could work together because you do nominate your candidate. You believe in them. But as he stated, I think both of these women are great candidates, and so I look forward to supporting them. Ms. Becky Sharp, I've seen some of her work that she's done with the PTA from afar. I don't think they call it the PTA anymore, but just her passion about that. Ms. Hendricks, her passion for the community, whether it's with the Democratic Party or just making sure that we have good candidates and getting voter awareness out through the PACs that she works with. So I think both of them will do a wonderful job, have a strong grasp of what's going on in the city, and they will be a wonderful addition. And so I'm just glad they're offering up their talents and their time for the citizens of Nashville.
Well, this is exciting. You have any comments,
Great
remarks?
candidate.
Great candidates.
Yes.
Thank you all for your comments and your remarks. That's just really exciting. But can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
We just appreciate you. The ayes have it. Thank you, young ladies. We really appreciate your willingness to serve. Definitely. Thank you so much. And we have some parking passes for you.
I have one.
Okay. You already have one?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have one?
Well, thank you.
Oh, that's very disappointing. That's the highlight of our meeting. Okay. Thank you, council people. Next, we have the Metropolitan Housing Trust Fund Commission. The appointment of Mr. Jim Schultz for a term expiring September the 17th of 2023.
Just been deferred till
Defer to next week.
November 6th. Here.
He's here, right?
Oh, he is? Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. I'm here. I don't know
Yeah,
why we had to defer one there.
I was like, did you come and run out again? Because they told me you were here. Pronounce your last name.
Schmitz.
Smits. Okay, Mr. Jim Smits. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Are you a resident of Davidson County?
I am.
Are you a registered voter in Davidson County? Do you serve on any other metro boards or
No.
commissions? Okay, tell us about yourself and why you think you were considered for the Housing Trust Fund Commission.
Well, I recently retired after 23 years with Regions Bank, the last 11 as the Middle Tennessee president of the bank. I think because I have some experience in real estate finance and hopefully can maybe assist by adding that expertise to the group as you look to leverage the dollars in the Barnes Fund to be able to do more because the whole issue of affordable housing right now is such a big issue for us. And I think there are some ways to do some things out there.
So what expertise do you feel like you can bring to the table that's quite different from others? You look like you have a lot of knowledge.
Well, what I understand is how, not to get too technical into it, but I was in real estate finance specifically before I got into management with the bank, and I financed a number of apartment complexes over the years along with other types of commercial real estate. And if you can get the financing right where somehow you can either do some things to save some money by lowering an interest rate, or you can do things by providing equity on the front end that lowers the amount that needs to be borrowed. That lowers the debt service on the property. Therefore, it means you can charge less rent for at least a portion of some of those units. So I think there's some opportunity there, and I haven't heard, in my opinion, I haven't heard enough discussion around the financing side of it and how some use of leverage might be able to be helpful in this.
Wow, exciting.
Yeah, that's great because, as a metro, we would like to have more affordable housing, but unfortunately, we do have set, budget. So if you can stretch that set budget as you described, that would be a great way to, build more affordable housing unit.
Right.
Appreciate your service.
Yeah, and I piggyback on what you said. I think, that's always the biggest challenge is when you have limited funds and the needs are greater than the money that we have. So I do believe having someone in the banking industry with your experience could add a lot to that committee. And also bring in some innovation in that a lot of times when we look at the housing fund and the Barnes Fund, we look at creating opportunities for people to rent instead of creating opportunities where people can buy and purchase homes. And we know that when people purchase homes and they are stable in the community, the costs are lower. We don't have the transient kids going from school to school, and they feel part of the community, so we reduce other costs. So I think one of the things I would like to see out of the Housing Trust and the Barnes Fund is to start looking at ways we can assist, especially a lot of the young people coming out of college that may not have a huge down payment, but look at ways that we can create opportunities for them to afford to purchase homes and not just be lifelong renters and never have an opportunity to build equity and wealth.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
When you look at this particular commission, and when you think in terms of being hopeful, what could you say to our community that would yield some type of hope? What do you see?
Well, I think to me the biggest hope that I see out there now is that everybody recognizes that it's an issue. You're not getting in an argument with anybody that there's not an affordable housing problem.
You can't correct anything that you don't
That's right.
acknowledge.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You have to have an intervention sometimes to believe. But that, on the negative side, I haven't been able to identify a city or a community in America that solved the problem.
See, that's the reason I was asking.
And that's an issue. But you got to eat the elephant one bite at a time.
Yes.
And so if we can just find a way to make some progress, I think that'll maybe bring some more hope to it. But it's a daunting challenge. And like you said, there are limited funds in the Barnes Fund, but I think there are a lot of smart people in this town. And I would add another element is, I know a lot of people in this town that are in the real estate business and other business folks. Maybe we can help bring them to the table to come up with some more creative solutions on how to go about trying to at least make a dent.
No, I agree. Yeah.
I'd like to move to recommend.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Well, we just appreciate your
Great.
willingness to serve.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I live downtown. I walked.
Thank you for your help. We appreciate it.
So much. Okay, Public Library Board, where are you? Come forward. We're so glad you're here because we have phonetically.
I know.
No, whoa. Council Lady Dow wrote it down phonetically for me because we really want to get this right. And I am a retired teacher, so getting the name correct is very important for me and to me. So
Let's hear it.
okay, thank you. Okay, Adriana, is that pretty good?
Perfect.
Okay, now, Bialostowski.
Okay. Perfect.
No,
Yes.
pronounce it for us.
Bialostowski.
Bialostowski.
I did it with the accent. but
You did, yeah, Bialostowski.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
I love it.
It is. She was saying she wanted to change her name to this name.
Come and train. My kids did not.
I love the Polish names have the SK.
Absolutely. And that's the background.
Yes, I've always admired those names. I like the ski on it.
The skis. Yes.
Stowski.
She was really intrigued with this.
I practiced a lot.
Are you a resident of Davidson County? Are you a registered voter in Davidson County? Do you serve on any other metro boards or commissions?
I do.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself and why you think you was one of the nominees for this particular board.
So
Commission.
I moved to Nashville around 13 years ago with my family, and one of the nicest spaces that we spent a lot of time was the main library. That was amazing in terms of like not only the books but all the programs around it. So as mother has played a huge role. As I'm a physician, I work with I'm a pediatrician.
Oh, okay.
And we have a couple of programs within our clinic about increasing literacy. So I know it was extremely important, and not giving children the books, but also teaching parents how to read a book, not read it, but use a book in there. And it gives us a lot of sense of how the development, how they are relating to the parents. And then I was very fortunate to be able to participate in the blueprint that was built for the literacy, early literacy. And then I understood a broader context of how libraries can influence and be part of the community. And especially also for minority population, because I work mainly with Latino families, and it's how we actually make them access that to learn how to navigate systems and things like that.
Wow.
Just amazing.
Amazing. That's
Especially
a perfect
the
adjective.
medical office with
Yeah.
the literacy. I
Yeah,
love that.
the integration of that perfect marriage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Motion.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do need
All
one.
in favor? Aye. You need one?
I didn't want to forget.
That's really great.
That
I'm
is good.
excited to hear about
Yeah.
that. I've never
Yes,
thought about.
that's a perfect
And
marriage.
the Imagination Library can
Yes.
bring that to as well.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so
Great
much.
things at our public library.
Yeah, you're awesome. You really are. Okay, next we have the Transportation Licensing Commission, the reappointment of Mr. Patrick McNally for a term expiring October the 10th of 2020, the reappointment of Ms. Jessica Powell for a term expiring October the 10th of 2020. All right, how about that?
How about that?
Okay, I have a question I'll ask both of you. Are you registered voters in Davidson County?
Yes.
Are you residents of Davidson County? Obviously you are. Do you
Yes.
serve on any other metro boards or commissions?
No.
No? Okay, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you think you were chosen to even serve in such a capacity. Who would like to go first?
Me? Okay. Well, my name is Pat McNally. I've lived in Nashville since 1986. I have the pleasure of my wife, who's been with me here. When I moved here, this town was significantly different than it is today.
Yes.
It was a wonderful place, and it still is a wonderful place. We've had the pleasure of raising our 2 children here. I was hired under Bill Shulman, Jim Shulman's brother, to be an assistant public defender, and did that for 4.5 years before I went to private practice. I've been in Tennessee since I graduated from law school. I think one of the reasons that I've been asked to be reappointed or to come back on again is some continuity to the commission. I've been on for several terms, and when I started there were we were looking at taxi cabs, limousines, and horse-drawn carriages. And Mr. Field's behind me, so he'll make sure that I tell the truth on this, and it was a much simpler commission. Since then, we have dealt with slow-moving vehicles, pedal cabs, pedal taverns. We even had Uber and Lyft at one time. I remember the meeting we had where it was in a big room. There was all this Lyft and Uber people over here and the taxi cab people over here. I think it's very, very important for this commission right now with the changes in transportation in our community and the very strong feelings from many people who live downtown and many people visiting downtown as to what they want and what they need, that it's important for some continued continuity on our commission. To bring some of the experience from the past along with the new issues that are before us. I don't like calling them problems. I think there are opportunities for us to find ways to promote the transportation in our community. Also, I think I'm one of the few people that can read the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation's criminal background check. And I think that truthfully, I think that's one of the most important things I do on that commission right now, because we have so many people that have backgrounds, and I'm able to ferret through that. Bless you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Sure, Councilman.
Either one of you can answer this question, but since we're sitting here and I have a feeling we're going to reappoint you, but my question to you both is, what is something that we have done over the past few years that you wish we wouldn't have done, that you've seen really there be a problem and there's something that we could look at that we may not know that we need to look at that's really, you see it and you're like, the council really messed this up. We mess up things, if you didn't know that. So you can be honest with us, come on.
I'm trying to think. I mean, honestly, I can't, there isn't anything that comes to mind right off the top of my head. I can certainly think about it, and especially as we're in our next commission meeting, there might be something that hits me, and I can contact you. But I can't think of anything right off the top of my head. Can you?
I don't. We make several recommendations to the council at times, and from what I've seen, they've been adopted. I guess one of the things, and it really wasn't the council, but one of the things that really affected me was when we took so much time to deal with the Uber, Lyft versus the taxi cab issue and everything. And as you all know, they came in and just set up business. And their policy was, let's set up business and we'll ask for forgiveness later. No one asked for permission first, let's go in. And then here we were dealing with them. We spent a lot of time on it, and then the state just takes it out of our hands, took it out of your hands as well. So that's not that's not answering your question directly, but that's an example of something that was very frustrating for the commission.
Well, that was a concern.
We share the same.
We understand.
Same thing. We're told we can't regulate these people coming in and operating in our city.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Do you want to allow Jessica?
I do.
Yeah, so.
I do.
Yes, my name is Jessica Powell, and I moved to Nashville a little bit over 10 years ago. It was in May of 2008, so I've been here a little over 10 years, and I moved here after finishing my Master of Public Policy and Management from Carnegie Mellon University. And Nashville has been extremely good to me. I have not just been able to have a job here, but I have been able to really build a career here that is extremely fulfilling to me. I have been able to thrive personally and socially, and so Nashville has given me a lot, and I'm sure you're familiar with the adage, to whom much is given, much is expected. So I would be remiss if I did not give back to the city that has given me so much. And so that is really why I have been serving on the commission. I was filling a seat for somebody who moved out of Davidson County. So I've been on the commission since December of last year. I think that my first actual meeting might have been in January. So about 10 months. And it's been really good to, be involved in a city process.
Let me ask you this. If what has been your, maybe you haven't had a challenge, but what would you say would be your biggest challenge being on this particular commission?
I think our biggest challenge is yet to come with the birds. I think our biggest challenge.
The state didn't want to take those out of our hands.
is yet to come.
Since you did it.
Well, yeah.
They haven't met since you did it.
Oh, that's true.
So I think that our biggest challenge is ahead in, I guess, January of next year when it gets to us. So
the best is yet to come.
Best is yet to come, and I would be remiss. I live in District 13, but Councilwoman Dow was responsible for nominating me to this board. So thank you very much.
You did good.
Well, I want to say too is that Jessica reached out to me, and she reached out to me, and if I think probably Council Lady Register of Deeds Johnson know, at the time she reached out to me, we were going through this whole transit. We had people calling with the horse and buggy. We had the pedal taverns, and I thought she must be crazy to want to get on the transportation. And I was like, "Are you sure?" And she goes, "Yes." So I never said anything to her. I just sent it on because they were dealing with some really challenging issues, from the pedal taverns to the carriage ride, and I mean all of that was coming at the same time, along with our city looking at a way to improve transit. And so I really admired the fact that you were willing to jump in at that time, because I think most people probably would have shied away with all the challenges. And I'm really proud that you are being reappointed, and both of you are willing to stick with it, because I do know that it's a tough board. And I know from when I first was elected to council, the Uber and the Lyft and the taxi cabs. I mean, that consumed probably about a year, and it was really, a tough issue. So I'm very thankful to have both of you willing to serve.
You may have appointed her, but she only lives a quarter mile from my district, so I'm claiming her. Okay?
Yes, she's good. And I should mention Jessica and Shia both are products of the Junior League of Nashville, and so am I and Kathleen Murphy. So I think that's worth noting. That
The Junior League produces wonderful women.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
produces
I'm gonna
wonderful
say.
women.
My wife is in the junior league, so I had to.
I'm actually going to a committee meeting right after this for gala.
Wow. All right, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. We thank you for your willingness to continue.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you a lot.
Anybody need? I do. Oh, good. Thank you for needing it, okay? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Here, darling.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Okay, if we have no more comments or reactions, we done? Okay, all in favor to adjourn? So moved. Thank you. We adjourn.